Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the Vault Hunters in Borderlands 4 on a tier list from best to worst in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. Now, this just released with the latest content update, and certain characters are a lot more powerful than others, just due to how this boss works. Now, we do have to deal with the Vile Crystals here, which are very annoying, but certain characters are a lot stronger at dealing with them, so I'll be breaking down all of that in this video. We did get our first melee weapon. I'm trying to get a good build for Amon working with that. Similar to the face puncher in previous games, it allows your gun to deal melee damage, but there's two characters that are just a lot stronger than the others, and I'm going to first start off with Harlowe. Now, Harlowe's got two skill trees that are very good. I'm going to first start off with the Cosmic Brilliance here. I think this is her best skill tree because we can get infinite ammo by using Group Study and the Nuclear Winter alongside Excited State. So Excited State states that whenever we get a action skill damage applied on the enemy, our next shot will become an automatic critical hit. What's funny is Nuclear Winter turns all of our gun damage into critical hit damage, and then Group Study makes it follow us around, meaning that every gunshot will trigger this, giving us infinite amounts of crits, which with critical funding gives you infinite ammo. We also get our action skill back immediately using Confirmative Reality, so whenever we shoot entangled enemies, we get a portion of our action skill back, and on multi-hit weapons, this is crazy. And with class mods like Decoherence here giving us bonus damage, this gives us bonus damage, this gives us bonus damage, this increases our damage by 50%. We are dishing out a ton of damage. Now, I will briefly touch on this weapon here. This combo for every character is going to be one of the best for Bloom Reaper. The darkbeast is great because it's going to explode and destroy those vile crystals. Although if you can get a stray with an underbarrel shotgun, I was told that's very good. I like the stray though. I have very bad parts in this. The Cub magazine is not great. If you get one without, this is perfect for this build. But the bod is the big one. So the bod basically is going to shred down any boss with a huge health bar, so this is going to be good in future content. Basically, the Torgue stickies are going to scale up the damage by 3% each. That's 15 per shot. If we're shooting this a bunch without reloading by infinite ammo, it destroys the boss. So like you see right here, we're just going to get the bot out, getting those infinite crits so that we can just infinitely shoot at this boss. You just want to strafe around it while it's doing this beam attack. You can kind of avoid it. And then the moment that we switch our magazines here, it's going to completely chunk away his health bar, and you can see there, he goes into his next phase of invincibility. And then you just have to come up to the top and do the same thing. You get a bit of better view whenever you're near the top. So if you struggle with this difficulty of the invincibility, you literally just do the exact same thing here, and you see the boss got destroyed in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 immediately. And this right here, if you want to copy the build, is how to do it. It's crazy strong. This makes the Cosmic Brilliance, I think, one of the best here. So putting this at the top of the S tier, it is very powerful. Now, in the interest of everyone's time, I'm not going to show you footage of every single build destroying the boss, but next up we have our Creative Burst here, which is another very powerful one because you can actually mix this with the green skill tree and get a crazy combination going. So if we were to take Neutron Capture here, which is the best, combining with the Chrome Accelerator, we can get a big boost to our damage. And Neutron Capture adds 4% of our actions to kill damage dealt back onto our gun, so we want to take increased fire rate. And then we're going to go with the green skill tree and come down here because Excited State will again turn that action skill damage into automatic critical hits, which means that we get that infinite ammo and then bonus radiation damage on top of that. It's absolutely absurd. And just so you can get an idea of the damage in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, it does take a while to run back to Bloom Reaper, so you can just get an example out of it here because it does crazy amounts of damage, especially on things like the Wombo combo, because it's going to add your action skill damage back. We already got our action skill back there. There is a really good class mod for this. I didn't equip it here, but it gives you lifesteal on top of that. It will drain your health all the way down, but yeah, it's pretty effective in the amount of damage you can spray out here. This again, Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. And we got our action skill back, so it's kind of a funny loop because you get from the green skill tree the ability to get it back so fast. It's not hitting many targets here, but if you can get a lot of targets caught up in that, the damage from it is nuts. So yeah, you just continually keep spamming that. I don't have an optimal build for this at the current moment just to show off. It's still powerful without. So yeah, Creative Burst is another S tier. Honestly, Harlowe is possibly the most broken character in this game, but Rafa, I gotta show you something with that. Now, yeah, very strong there, but the only other unfortunate thing is Seize the Day, which is her blue skill tree. I'm not even going to show you it in combat. It's okay for mobbing. That's really where it is because it can lock enemies up in a bubble. It sucks against Bloom Reaper The Invincible, unfortunately, unless they can change something about her kit to make this better. I just don't see this being a very optimal pick. It's just incapable of doing large amounts of damage to a single target. It's good at crowd controlling, but you don't really need that in this boss when there's so many platforms you can jump around to. So yeah, easily D tier. Now, I love Trouble, but unfortunately, even after the buffs that they got this patch, still not enough, unfortunately. Now, Vex unfortunately took quite a hit with the latest update. She does make use of the new sniper rifle that I'm using right here. It's kind of like the Xfinity XXL. It randomly will not consume ammo when you use it, but Unfortunately, she really has to use the same kind of builds as the other characters, so that is like the infinite ammo, using the darkbeast, but her damage output isn't the same as Rafa's and Harlowe's, unfortunately. She is still very strong, don't get me wrong, and I'm still experimenting with a bunch of different builds here to see what's going to be the most effective here. This seems to be it. I don't have it fully optimized right here, but yeah, it's not going to be as quickly as Rafa or Harlowe to clear. Same kind of concept applies. We need to blow up these the little orbs that are floating around there, and then be able to destroy the crystals, which you can see her damage output isn't the same as Harlowe, who gets the infinite ammo on top of the infinite crits as well, and Rafa, who can kind of do something similar, although his fire rate goes really high. Now that took me about a minute there to clear that first phase, which usually Harlowe and Rafa can do in half that time. So, well, she's not bad. She just has a bit of a weaker kit than the others when it comes to pure damage. That's not really her role, however. Vex is amazing for dealing damage, but also being extremely survivable. She has the best item in the game, the Teen Witch class mod, which gives her life steal the ability to apply to shield and overshield, which is crazy because the green skill tree gives you a lot of life steal. When your action skill's active, 20% extra, 10% from here, and that class mod gives you another 10% too. So very survivable, but if you want to get the platinum clear, I haven't got one with Vex yet. I've been trying. Rafa and Harlowe can consistently get the 1 minute 30 seconds in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. I know she can in lower difficulties, but I wanted to include this for the highest difficulty in the game, which unfortunately she does lack the time to clear. Now, I still think she's got a good kid, and she can definitely still solo this. I think she's probably one of the best if you're just playing solo, and maybe not like an optimized build, because she does have so much life steal that you could complete this boss without too much of a headache. But if you want to get those platinum rewards for that new sniper rifle, it's challenging. Yeah, the Rainmaker is worth it. It's good on her with her Bloodshot builds, but it kind of feels like the Xfinity XXL. This would be one of the best builds here to get a lot of damage, because we get the Grave Implements here, and that's going to scale up our gun damage. We also then have things like the Essence Leech, and again, the bod being very good, especially if you get a class mod like one that's going to increase your gun's magazine size. Like, this isn't the perfect one, but it gives an increased gun magazine size and shotgun gun magazine size, which makes the bod much easier to use with our witchy trigger finger. That's really the big thing, because with the witchy trigger finger, we can take out the second phase of this boss while using the bod, kind of similar to how I explained with Harlowe. It's just going to be the best weapon for this. So while I really like the Incarnate, I do think since it has a harder time clearing Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, I may put it a little bit below, maybe in the A tier. Typically, I have it in the S tier. It is probably... Someone's going to complain if I don't put it in the S tier. It just doesn't have the damage output, but it is extremely powerful. And I'm not going to do the 15-minute run back to show off the blue skill tree, because it's good. It's good. Using the Reapers is nice, but the only problem is I tried a couple different builds here with using the heirloom here, where you use you can actually make it so that if you use your Gaster bait here, you can make it drop a heavy ordnance, and it's decently strong, but unfortunately the AI tracking is not that great, so the Spectres are just okay. The Reapers are just okay. They don't really hold the boss's aggro that much, compared to some of the other bosses where the Reapers become much better. And the damage from this is good, but you're likely going to be speccing into the green skill tree for damage. So yeah, it does lack a bit of that, where the green skill tree is just better in terms of its damage output, which is kind of important in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 if we want to get the fast clear. Unfortunately, I do think the Dead Ringer is probably like a B tier. It's just not as good as the others. So I'm going to set it right around there, and especially with the new the endgame content. It's good in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 against other bosses other than BLOOMREAPER The Invincible. And unfortunately, despite getting some buffs, now Phase Familiar got Double Trouble got a buff here, getting increased damage a couple patches ago. Newest patch actually brought up damage, and it now makes Trouble do Vorpal Blade, basically doing an attack that'll attack an enemy. I guess it is Blink Strike. They'll do a Blink Strike every 12 seconds if they're not attacking a target, which I don't think is enough. It also made it so its melee attack, or its range attack, will now get the melee damage increases. Because previously, if you took melee increases, it didn't count whenever it was doing a range attack. So that's nice, but the damage from it's not really that good either. I've tried to make Trouble work. It can be fun if you're playing solo and on other difficulties, but Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, it does fall off in terms of just not having high damage output, and Trouble doesn't really do a whole lot, unfortunately. So I do hope that they bring this up a bit, but I do think that Trouble, unfortunately, is another class that's just not that good in the Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. Yeah, I might toss it a bone, put it in C tier, because it is a little bit better in Seize the Day, but it's just not that great. I hope they buff it. And actually, I think I'm going to move Incarnate back down to A tier. I don't think that it doesn't have the damage output. I'm sorry if anyone's offended by that. I love Vex, my favorite character to play, but they just aren't as strong as Harlowe and Rafa. So I accidentally just ran all the way back here and forgot that my Dark Beast is on another character entirely. So Yeah, I'll just show you what this looks like with the bod, which is still strong. As you guys saw a bit earlier, though, it is a little bit better to use the dark beast because the ricochets and everything just makes this so much more powerful. But the thing with Rafa is he's got the Bullet Buddy Deluxe, so whenever he's in his action skill there, he gets the increased movement speed, which helps a ton here. But he gets infinite ammo, so this makes certain weapons so much more powerful, especially things like the bod again, which infinite ammo means that it can destroy his health bar in the second phase so much easier. And if I had the Dark Beast with me, you would have seen, similar to what was happening with Harlowe, these crystals just getting deleted instantly. So yeah, it also works great with these strag. So here's the wombo combo. The fire rate increases from the red and blue skill tree can make this absolutely insane. But again, Dark Beast is going to be the best weapon for everyone in the first phase here, unfortunately. Hopefully future Invincible bosses will have different setups that are a little bit more effective. But the red and the blue skill trees both here are good. And actually, a combination of both. I'm going to start with the Peacebreaker Cannons. This is the best Rafa build, in my opinion, because Bullet Buddy Deluxe, again, anything that gives us infinite ammo makes things like the bod with Torgue stickies really crazy. Kaoson's also a very powerful choice in the Queen's Rest. Now, getting increased fire rate is really good here. We don't actually care too much about gun damage because we can get our gun damage scaling up really high. It's not scaling very high right now. We need to get a few kills first. But you get increased skill damage, which is going to increase a lot of this here. Temerario is going to give us even further gun damage whenever we have our action skill up. And then Soltado actually got fixed in the latest, a previous patch actually, to now give us even further increased overdrive benefits whenever we get a kill, meaning we can get our gun damage increases up to like 600%. It's kind of crazy. Now, the Peacebreaker Cannons is fantastic. If you were to just spec into this fully on your own, you could actually go into the left-hand side here because ricochets help a lot, especially with the Dark Beast being able to ricochet these around. It means you can clear the first phase faster, but I honestly think that the best skill tree here is a combination of red and blue. You get increased fire rate from the blue skill tree, which is important, and any overdrive skill can scale up even further, so the ammo regeneration is nice when we don't have the Bullet Buddy Deluxe up. Al Centro is actually crazy because it gives us the gun handling to offset the Temerario so we don't get very inaccurate. This will further increase our gun handling and then further increase our fire rate. So we get shooting really fast with a combination of both of these. Also, they did just fix permalast. It used to work weirdly where it would actually be a overdrive skill, and it's not. The blue skill tree is fine. It's not super powerful like the red skill tree is. And I'd actually have to say the red skill tree, we're going to put this up at the, yeah, I would actually say that it's probably a little bit better than green skill tree Harlowe at this point. They're both very powerful, but just this is so crazy. Bullet Buddy Deluxe has a lot less setup than it requires in the green skill tree. They're honestly both really close. It's hard to say, honestly. Just the fire rate increases from Rafa just makes a huge difference. Fire rate, really fast fire rate, and he gets infinite ammo, whereas Harlowe gets infinite ammo and infinite critical hits. Actually, you know what? I'd probably actually say green. I've had faster clears with greens. More consistent fast skill cleans, but both of them are very powerful. And that takes us to the Apophis Lance. Now, when you want to use this setup, it's probably best for us to use the red skill tree. Like, Apophis Lance is fun and all, but it doesn't have that same damage. If you just wanted to use like your actual like Mega Man arm attack, it's not going to be enough to take out this boss at all, especially in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. But the skill tree itself has a lot of great choices. The right-hand skill tree is really nice. I think it's powerful, but not going to be the same as the red skill tree as mentioned. So this one is going to go, I would say it's a little below the blue skill tree for effects. If we're just going to factor in, like, if you want, like, kind of a combination of using it only as the blue skill tree, and also if you were to mix it with the red, which is obviously the best choice here. Now, Arc Knives I've used, and it has a gimmicky build, but the problem with Melee is that I guess now it could be good with a mantra. I'm going to be trying some different builds, but there's nothing that's jumping out at me right now that's going to be overpowered for this. So hopefully they do make some changes to the Melee builds in the future, because this has potential. But honestly, the weirdest thing is you would go with Alter Cabral here and then go all the way into the blue skill tree for Permalast. I don't think that works anymore, but that would be the best build because it could infinitely stack. And I actually don't think it works that way anymore either. So Arc Knives is just unfortunately not that strong. I'm going to put this one into the D tier. It's just 2 because the 2 best builds are on other skill trees. These just don't compete in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. And finally, we have Amon, who's in a weird spot, actually. Onslaughter could potentially be good, but even from my testing with the Mantra Shotgun, getting all these gun damage or melee damage boosts is nice on it, but the damage output from it isn't like some of the other builds that we've gotten in previous Borderlands game where melee are much better. Although Amon's red skill tree does give us one of the best abilities in the entire game. With whenever he activates his forward skill, he gets Berserk, which gives him slow immunity, bonus cryo damage with gun, and melee damage. This gives 30% extra cryo damage, bonus cryo damage to it, that for 15 seconds. There is only red will extend it by 4 seconds every time we get a kill. It used to be 9 seconds, which was really good. and it gives you increased bonus damage 60% per kill, which is actually crazy. So you get a lot of damage out of this. It's very powerful and makes the skill tree very much worth taking. And it'll actually scale better when we have higher levels cap in the later game, because my touch's death is actually pretty crazy. Whenever we deal melee damage, we can potentially activate our kill skills. And with one of the class mods, it takes like tempered pyre or twin tempers, tempered ice. These give us little drones that deal melee damage, so they can actually proc this. They just got updated with this patch to be a little bit better. I've tried them; they still suck, unfortunately. So hopefully in the future this could be a build that works well. But unfortunately, the red skill tree, it's good, but the damage output from this is just not going to compete with Bloom Reaper. You do need it for one of the better builds, so I will put it at the top of the B tier. And I do see this one being a decent one, especially with all the mantra being a new weapon in here. But yeah, it just doesn't do that well against Bloom Reaper, unfortunately. And the cybernetics is actually kind of interesting because it's fun. This is really fun to play. I really like it. But as mentioned, even after changing how the forge drones are, like, they're now better at hitting their targets, they still don't do a lot of damage. Like, that's 300 damage per shot. That's not really that much, especially against Bloom Reaper. They're not going to do anything. It would probably take them a full few hours to actually get through the first phase. They probably even couldn't be able to do that. They need to change this. One cool thing about this, though, is you can pull out the axes and melee with them. But unfortunately, with melee in this game, it's just not that good. And unfortunately, against Bloom Reaper, it sucks against Bloom Reaper too. But hopefully, we'll see changes to melee and maybe there'll be better builds. The mantra being around is nice now that we got something to experiment with. I'd have to say, though, that Cybernetics, I'd have to say, is another one that's just not good. It's better than Seize the Day and Arc Knives. I might even just throw it in the C tier just to be kind to it. It's just not good. Unfortunately, not good. I do think it needs a bit of a buff. And again, it could be potentially powerful just because it can activate red skill tree, but our blue skill tree is the best. Blue skill tree, Amon, has typically been the best from its launch. The Scorched Shield is nice for protecting you. You get increased ordnance damage. This is all about ordnance damage because the Tail of the Comet gives you infinite amounts of status effects that you can apply on the enemy, which then gives us infinite ammo from Primal Surge. Whenever we apply a status effect, we have a 25% chance of getting 30% of our ammo back. This works on heavy ordnances so that we can just continually keep firing no matter what weapon we're using. So the gameplay loop with Amon is literally just holding on your mouse trigger. You can see in the bottom right-hand section, we're getting infinite ordnance. I don't know why the bullets are flying up like that, but it'll automatically, that was really strange. That's a kind of a glitch, I'm thinking. I don't know why. It auto-aims on people. And yeah, there's also another weapon that's really powerful for Amon. So yeah, you typically just want to bounce these through this here. So yeah, you can shoot them off of the ground. Putting up your forge wall increases the damage they deal. Unfortunately, it keeps bouncing. I'm hitting some weird creature that it does that sometimes. But against Bloom Reaper, it won't. So yeah, the damage from this one isn't as high as our S tier picks, but it's pretty fine. Here's the mantra itself. I think the mantra is a fun weapon, but the damage from it, we'll have to see. I'm not spec'd for it at the moment, and even from trying different builds, I just didn't find it to be that strong against Bloom Reaper, but I'm sure there's a combination. So yeah, I do think the blue skill tree Amon's his best kit. With the infinite ordnance, that's just going to be his highest damage potential. So I'd have to say this one is, I'm going to put in the A tier because it can clear Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. Like, of the builds that we got here, the best ones are going to be the Cosmic Brilliance. Just infinite crits with the darkbeast is just so crazy and just destroys this boss. The Peace Breaker Cannons, same concept. With both those two weapons, very powerful, and Create a Burst also being a good one too, because it kind of functions similar to the green skill tree, just a little bit different in how it works and not as consistent. Green skill tree Vex requires you to aim your witchy trigger if you're going to get the ammo back, but it's good. It's just not as quick as the others. And Vengeance Amon, I mean, it's just Amon doesn't have the same damage output. He's kind of the slowest of the four to clear. The red skill tree, I hope it continues to get buffs with melee, and then the blue skill tree is here. Unfortunately, the rest of these just don't compete. If you're trying to get the platinum clear, let me know if it's possible to get the platinum clear with Phase Familiar or any of these builds. I'm curious if it's possible, because I've tried. It's just not possible in my opinion. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Subscribe if you enjoyed.